Welcome to the Trailhead, the biggest shit show in off-road podcasting. Today we have the pleasure of Marcus Trusty returning to the show, a true Colorado native and a land use expert based in Buena Vista. Marcus's love for off-roading and dedication to keeping trails open have shaped his advocacy journey, contributing significantly to trail reopenings and preservation efforts across the West. As a writer for Trails Off-Road and Crawl magazine and president of the Colorado Off-Road Enterprise, Marcus brings a wealth of knowledge on land use issues. And today we'll delve into his experiences and insights as we kick off our core conversation series on land use issues. Welcome back, Marcus.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Thank you. Today we also are thrilled to have Craig Decker, applications assistant director at the University of Colorado Springs, and an off-road devotee from Peyton, Colorado. He's our second guest host. With over 2 decades in graphic and web design, Craig uses his expertise to show off his passion for off-roading on YouTube and Instagram. From his roots with a 98 TJ to conquering trails in his 2011 Wrangler, Craig has passed on his tradition of jeeping to his kids. Beyond the trail, he's a soccer enthusiast with over 20 years of coaching experience. Welcome to today's episode, Craig.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get started here. Let's go over... Oh, we had Jason join us. Hey, what's up, brother? You're muted, my man. Yeah, I did not leave you on mute from the last episode. There you are.
Probably should.
I mean, there is that.
I had to run to the store. I was out of Monster.
Then or now?
Well, that's why I'm late.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I'm good. I'm good now.
Right?
See, I got it.
That's awesome. Cool, man.
Shit, where is it?
All right. Well,
it's over there.
Jason is a resident alcohol expert, so every off-road podcast apparently has to have an alcohol expert. So Jason is going to be it.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that works for me.
And I'm still looking for an ashtray, so I'll use this.
You're
for
in
now.
a garage. I think you're fine. Like, you can always just open it and let it blow out.
That's why Lily's not here this time. She's mad at me.
And this is new how.
Well, this time's bad.
Yeah. Do you want to share that on
She
air?
pulled the. Yeah, let's go for it. She pulled the Glady out of the garage today.
Uh-oh.
And she hit my cabinet, which in turn knocked my bottle of coolant off the top. But didn't stop. She shut the door, kept going.
Ooh.
So I found it when I came out to the garage.
Did she see it? Or did she say she didn't?
Well, no, when she came home, she conveniently came smiling, going, and I'm like, you knocked something over in the garage and then ran over it, didn't you? And she smiled and she's like, yes.
Yeah, that's the dead giveaway. Mm-hmm. All right.
You're retired. You have all the time in the world to clean it up.
I mean, she's got you there.
True.
Like, it's a hard argument.
But it takes away from my drinking.
I think you'll be all right. You got to pace yourself anyway. This gives you a chance to get some calories out.
Yes.
All right.
Fucking hot.
Well,
in here.
welcome, Jason.
Shit.
Thanks. It's good to have you, my man. And
Yeah,
in
it's good
a
seeing everyone.
stationary position. And then Randi and Pope, welcome.
Hey there. We are back to
Oh, Randy and Pope.
Hi.
And we already talked to Marcus and Craig. The last episode that will have aired, this will be episode 13. I'm still thinking I got my math right. And the last episode that will air is going to be our Christmassy Thanksgiving one that we did with Aqua Jeep Girl and Julie and Matt. So that should be good stuff. That was just 2 hours of us really bullshitting. That was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, that's a good conversation.
Hey, Pope. Bad karma, bro. Bad karma.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you stayed with them, and next thing you know, she rolls over.
There's so many right now. All of our friends. I think I
friends,
really, Kate, this is what I think it is. And this is, I would like to.
Rationalizations from Randi.
No, it's not rationalizations. Like, this is what happens is, like, I think we're all kind of at this place. We're all testing boundaries. We're all pushing each other. We're all like, And it's a learning curve, and I think we're all kind of in a similar spot.
Yeah.
And we all needed the reality check that we can roll over. Like, I think that's a good thing.
And
to
at least
know every
nobody
once in
got
a while.
hurt in these, right? Like, so it's
No, and nobody got
These were
hurt. They were all
low-key
in like very
and-
controlled, low key. We're not invincible.
Just
I
my
think
ego
we all-
got hurt was all.
Yeah.
really.
He just
Well,
ran out
you
of
could-
talent. It's not
Ran out
for
of
him,
talent,
but
yeah.
it's
He needed to be knocked down a peg anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting too high
it's-
and mighty
it's
with your Jeep.
fine. It's fine. I deserve to go down a notch, you know.
Yeah.
We just kind of like, what's really funny is that I wasn't even on a hard trail. Like Julie's
No,
at
it
least,
could happen anytime.
Julie's
Like,
at
you
least
gotta
on a
be
buggy
ready.
obstacle when she tips over on a roof, and I'm on just driving
You're
off
n-
the side of a cliff.
I mean, I
Bro.
hate to say it, but it's true.
Bro, you don't admit that. You don't admit
Oh,
that.
he
I'm
showed
gonna
it to
say you
everybody.
were
He
on,
had
like,
the
a
video.
rated-
Yeah.
You were on a
It's on
buggy
video,
hill.
it's too obvious.
It's on video. Everybody knows
you
where
can
he
see the
was.
other
If
dri-
you're
you can see
from
the
northern
cars driving
Utah, you know
around me.
exactly. You're like, what? How did you roll there? It's, but it can happen anytime, any place. As soon as your guard's
Julie
down.
did get
and
more
I think-
damage than I did, although I think that you would probably both need new hoods. And
Yeah.
Well,
I
at
think-
least everyone's safe.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
they weren't
everyone's
bad
safe
rolls
and
or
we're
anything.
all-
They were just kind of tips.
No, it's always slow, but it did kind of expedite the need for a roll cage because I do want my Jeep to go fast too.
Yeah.
But if I'm going slow, I want it to be able to roll down a hill and then just be like, all right, let's get back in action.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna rock crawl like you guys like to rock crawl, that it makes 100% cage it up because you need it.
It happens.
I think we're pushing the limits of something that's still considered a Jeep at this point. We're crossing over that line, and I think that's why stuff's starting to happen. Like we had like 5 friends roll over this year. at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
It's like 5 people, but we're all kind of like. I think it's
How much of that
I'm
is-
Not, huh?
No, go ahead.
How much is it? What?
How much of that do you think is peer pressure to push it harder?
Julie was just trying to go on her own. Like she's just
I
trying.
think we're
It's
all
not.
just-
I think she's not. It's not so much peer pressure as it is. You're just pushing yourself to see if you can.
Yeah.
Like in Julie's situation, she was just trying to see if she could do it.
without
Yeah.
like a spotter and things like that. Like we're pushing just
And
different.
now
directions.
she's like, oh, I wish
Okay.
I would have had. She wishes she would have waited for a different spotter to show up, and like Chuck was on the trail with him. He just drove up a little bit ahead, and
But she just wanted to do it on her own, and that's totally commendable. And
That's
we're
what
like kind of
happens.
pushing boundaries, and we're trying different things. And it wasn't like a big area or anything. It wasn't like there was a cliff right there or something. She
Yeah.
just was trying it, and it wasn't.
You
the
don't
right...
have to convince me
right.
about solo off-roading. I get it. Yep.
she's just
I probably would not
pushing
have
boundaries.
tried that, but I get it.
Yeah.
now in Dominus. Her husband's Jeep probably would have been fine on that line,
No,
but he wouldn't have
she
needed to
drove
take
off-
it.
No.
But yeah, but his flex is way more than hers with that 3-link setup that he's got.
Right. But anyway, on to other things. But yeah.
No, you're
it's
good.
weird. Thanks, Jason, for
Oh, but-
bringing that up.
I
We're
started
feeling
it.
Really
But
good.
the Misfits started, by the way. The Misfits running, so
Yeah.
Hey, we have
got
live.
saw
good
that.
news.
I don't
Yeah,
have
right now
it's a live button anymore. Yeah. Wait.
Right now, the axle's getting
Who would have
straightened.
thought?
And the axle's bent, but it's not related to that incident. It's related to airborne incidents that happened in the past. And so they're straightening the
irony-
front axle.
The
and-
irony behind it, Pope.
Yeah, right. And then so
It's
they
like,
add a truss to it.
Can't
and
figure
it'll
out
be
why
good.
it'll start.
Why didn't the starter start? I think it's because it got a bunch of
Yeah.
hydraulic fluid in it. He doesn't really like hydraulic fluid in the starter.
I just think it's funny. Like you're looking at all the other things, and it's like, why won't it start? And in the end, it's a starter.
I mean,
Yeah.
at least it was something
Like-
simple.
Well, they were worried that there
Yeah,
was oil
yeah.
in the engine because when they did turn it over with the, when they cranked it over with the wrench, it didn't sound very good. So they didn't want to
it had
like,
some resistance or
yeah, it had some resistance. So they wanted to so they scoped it. Everything's great. He has nothing bent in there. Nothing.
clean the bill of health on the motor, so
Yeah.
now we can just go and
Not worried
beat
about
the
that.
shit out of this some more.
Should have hit the starter with a hammer.
So do you have it home now?
No, it's impulse. The front axle's removed right now. It's going to be they're taking it to another place to get the axle straightened for me. And I'm not
Okay.
exactly what the process is, but either way, if it was he or if they just use brute force, I don't trust the strength of that axle anymore. So we're putting
Yeah, I
a
get
truss on it to reinforce it, and it's actually just should have had a truss in the first place before we started throwing it in the air.
Yeah. Anyway,
Little things. All right.
So that's the end of the Pope and Randy update.
Well, thank you for the Pope and Randy update. I'll take it. It's one of us needs to have, or a few more than one of us, two of us need to have a Jeep. As I still don't have mine, so there's no new update this week. I was supposed to call Matt and I didn't, so I don't have any updates. I might have a person I'm working with on some steering stuff, but more news on that later. So we'll see. It's gonna live. It's a matter of when I ever get it back. So let's see here. Craig, for you and for anybody listening, I haven't had my Jeep since August. I broke it in July, and it's been running around shops in Denver since. But it's finally at GarageWorks. Shout out to Matt at GarageWorks, and they are going to fix it up and get it going. So in the spring, I can hit it hard. Although I found out I've got a ton of rollover vacation, so I might be headed to Arizona. We'll see how that goes.
fun.
Cool. Let me see here. I was just looking off to the side to see if we had any new reviews.
I got about 8,000 Trailhead podcast stickers.
I mean, you only got like a little chunk of what I got
Ooh.
too. Like I bought 4,000 stickers. It was just cheaper. Like it was $40 more to get 1,000 more of each. So I was like, all right.
Did I send you my address?
You did, and I'm guessing that if you ask Lily, you have a whole box of stickers ready to go for you, and maybe a Christmas card. We'll see.
There, hang on. Hey, who got the mail today?
Oh, actually, I think this would have been like at least last week. So like Thursday.
I don't know when they
Friday.
showed
got
up
the
in our
mail
mailbox. We
last
just get
week?
the mail like once in a while because it's like
I'm
not
just
from our
not
house.
I'm looking for a box.
a box.
What's that box? There's no way that's that box. No box? No sticker box?
I'll double check the
sticker?
tracking and let you know where it's at. You
Okay.
have one on the way.
All right. Should have been here last
You
week.
should have.
Okay.
So
And
if
I'm
you
not sure
see,
when
Yeah,
it, I'm not
great.
sure when it
Every-
came, but it was in our mail when we got it. So
okay, cool.
Now everybody's scared. I used my military face, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, he's
You're
pissed."
supposed to retire that. You're supposed to be all done with all that bullshit.
No, you gotta keep that. Sometimes it works.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just trying to keep a house stable, I get it.
That shit does not work when you live with Latinas. It does not. Wait a minute. Did you say we were live?
We are on Facebook. It doesn't like YouTube actually kicked off. So
We are. Oh,
Oh shit.
yeah, but nobody's watching. No, this was just for me to see if the settings worked or not. I didn't tell anybody this was
live on
happening.
TikTok, but Randy vetoed it.
This would be like, I'm gonna get prepared for all the comments now. I'll be like, shit.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd at least make the
Okay.
software do like logos for us on our names and stuff.
What are you using? Are you using OBS?
OBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple cool. I can send you a couple of
Cool.
plugins I got for it. You'll like it.
Oh, that would be rad. Yeah.
Yeah, they're easy to set up once you get them set up, and then now I'm just been playing with like this individual settings and things. I think I finally got it to the point where I don't look like an idiot every time I go on here.
I thought it was
Alright.
going to take me longer to set it up today, and it didn't. So that was pretty good.
Nah, OBS is pretty easy. I was surprised by it too, and it's free, so even better.
For some
All right,
reason.
so we didn't get any new ratings this week. This is a reminder for everybody. All right. If you are part of the first 50 folks to leave us a review, we are going to give away this 8-switch gang panel as a raffle item to one of those 50 people. If you leave a review, send us a message on Instagram or email us at the trailheadpodcast@gmail with a screenshot, and we'll get you entered and we'll go from there. Reviews
What
are
if
the
it
best way to
becomes a
get us
running
promoted.
joke that we haven't got 50 reviews yet? Like we were.
What
like
did you
in
say?
Episode 524, and like we still have like 12 reviews.
If I can, when we give this away, I'm just gonna keep the box, and then I'm just gonna keep promoting it like we have another one to give away, and just
All right.
That's
No, I can't do that.
I'm gonna
Where's
add to
where's
your
the review
I'm gonna add
at?
to the pot for you. So we're gonna give away a Gem in the Misfit T-shirt or a Misfit World Order T-shirt.
oh boy, I should start keeping track of this.
oh
Add that
Alright.
to your list.
shit. That's way too high.
All
Or
right, duly
whatever
noted.
Gem in the Misfit T-shirt is out at the time when we finally hit that.
Why are you like this?
Why am I not like this?
I mean, he's
Okay.
just like I am, so it's not any like I'll
Hey, we've
add
got-
to it. We got some.
I've got
today
these damn shirts I printed out. I might as well find a way to get rid of them.
I mean, there is that. So, if it, I'll add. To
You
it.
could get drunk. You get drunk and play beer pong and put it on a live podcast.
thought that's what we
Or
were
not
doing.
podcast, but a live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did it last weekend. And I gave away fucking shirts. Apparently,
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Have you sent them
I was
out?
watching when
People
you
were
did.
betting. Yeah, yeah.
We also got
I
these.
remember.
So I got a little deal on one of the sticker companies, little holographic ones. So I'll throw one of those in that, and then obviously you're going to get a big shout out because we want to get those first 50 reviews. Reviews are the best way to help us grow, gets it put in front of people.
Yeah.
Some of the other podcasts out there are sporting hundreds of reviews, and if we want to get up
We
there,
can give away
need help.
parts
Give
off
these
of
babies.
Randy's Jeep too.
You guys have repeatedly told me
Like
you have
that.
thousands of dollars worth of parts in your garage. I'll take all of it.
You can have any of this garbage. I just need it out of my garage. I'm so sick of it.
All right, I get it. This is your weekly reminder. The first episode with our phone number really pushing would have been last week. So we're going to keep pushing the phone number 719-408-0132. That is the We Don't Like Jason, and we want to leave a message about something he said and tell him about it.
Yep, bring it, Toyota drivers.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
Ooh, that's a good point. He did go after that real fast, didn't he? Like it's
Sure
just red
did.
meat. Mm-hmm. All right.
Can
You could also
Rough.
catch us at the Trailhead Network. If you want to be a guest or if you would like to be considered to be a guest, go there, fill out the questionnaire. I'll get that and then get a hold of you and we'll see if we can get you on the show. Anybody that's got a good story, I don't care if you got 5,000 or 5 followers, just come to me with something and we'll get you on the show. If it's something interesting, we'll talk about it. And then last but not least, Trailhead Podcast on Instagram. And one more time, 719-408-0132. All right. Cool. Pope, I tried to get it set up. I had it set up, and then I have a feeling it's not going to work. We're going to try it.
Let's
We're
see.
going to try it one last time. See?
This some music?
Yeah, still nothing. I still got no audio. I just got I can hear it.
Oh, no audio.
No. So,
Dun-dun-dun,
da-da-da.
dun-dun-dun.
News with Pope. Oh shit! Pope got his own graphics.
look at that.
I don't need to be there for anything. Okay.
Here's
Randy-
the fucking news.
Randy is
Hell
so
yeah.
ashamed right now. She's so
She's
ashamed,
so
ashamed
mad.
of her husband that
Like,
she's as
why?
red as her hair. It's amazing.
Like I got this cool technology, and that's what I did with it. Here's the fucking.
It's a great
news.
place to start. Yeah, go for it. I love it. I love it
Yes,
every moment.
I'm
of it.
married to a
It's like
child.
Christmas colors too.
Yeah. All right, let's see what.
All right,
news
go
we've
for it,
got
man.
Today. All right, we want to start with the "we're in this together" news. So we're gonna talk about this federal proposal to ban climbing anchors. Oh my, everyone's gonna start being pissed. Oh, first you want us to walk there, now you don't want us to climb on things.
Yeah,
All right, here we go. Randy's already gonna start
That's
punching
fucked up.
me if I don't shut up.
That's all right.
Oh shit! Let
in
me.
I'm
We're
surprised
all
she
in this
hasn't got a
together
cattle
news.
prod like a dog collar just behind you. Zap zap.
She's gonna stand there with a taser.
Yeah.
We're
Keep
all in
going.
this, we're all in this together. There's a stir in the wilderness climbing scene about the Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park in Colorado. Federal land managers are mulling over some rules that might put an end to the use of fixed climbing anchors in federally designated wilderness areas. Since fixed anchors allow access to some rocks that can't be with temporary ones, The same crew that kickstarted the modern environmental movement finds themselves fighting to keep their access. And here's the kicker. We delved into this very topic when we had a chat with Ben Bird from the Blue Ribbon Coalition. He was here a few weeks ago. Yeah, we're all in this together. Every time you ban something, you get something turned into wilderness, no one gets to access it. Not even people who can climb the rocks.
Yeah, it was funny that this article hit right after all that went down, and we had all of those conversations about people thinking they were just out there helping the wilderness stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, yeah, you can't put anchors there either. So you just essentially you can't go there. No, none. So,
but at least you won't have to listen to us driving our Jeeps there.
Yeah,
Mine's quiet.
Is it?
Mine's an EV.
I think so.
Mine's very quiet. Mine's been very quiet for 4.5 months.
You've reduced your
Any
carbon
noise that it
emissions
makes, I just turn the stereo up.
Yeah, that you're. It's not helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good one. So yeah.
All right. Looks like we
I
don't
don't
have
have
much
anything else to say about that. That's just one of those things where I want to say, like, you need to just be aware of it, because if somebody's telling you that they're gonna help you keep something, make sure that you're looking under the covers and make sure that they're actually going to help you, because all these climbers are now finding out they're not getting the help they thought they would in this moment.
I mean, if you can't climb those mountains with your physical strength and defy gravity, well, then you don't deserve to go up there. It's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, and just sit at the bottom and drink Jaeger.
And if that's how you, if you want to tell Pope how you feel about how he feels about it, the phone number is 719-408-0132. All right. The other one for the dust one.
All right. So here's our, which one do you want me to do?
The dust one, I think, is the next one.
The dust one. Oh, yeah. So a recent SETI study concludes no immediate action required on OHV-related dust and noise. The latest investigation conducted by the city of Sedona concerning off-highway vehicle use indicates that no immediate action is required to address concerns related to the dust and noise. Building on prior research, this study focused on 5 specific locations in and around Sedona frequented by OHVs. The primary objective was to gather additional environmental data to better inform the city's decision-making process regarding potential actions related to OHV use. The study findings suggest that the current levels of dust and noise associated with OHV use in the assessed locations do not necessitate immediate intervention. This information provides valuable insights into the ongoing management of OHV-related concerns, highlighting the city's commitment to a thoughtful and data-driven approach in addressing environmental considerations related to off-highway vehicle usage.
Yeah, the end of that was a little bit of self-flagellation, but the rest of that,
I probably could have just read the first paragraph and then.
No, it's okay. I should have edited that out in the beginning, so before you even saw it. Yeah. But
I feel like the person who started that shit was probably named Karen.
Well, we're gonna have Alyssa back on, and I hope she's got some personal insight into the fights that go on near Sedona, since she's in.
We're gonna have Karen on. Is that what you just said?
No, you got to be careful now, because we're going to have somebody named Karen on eventually, and then we're going to have to talk about this, and I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, I do. That'd be fun.
All right.
Sometimes
so
yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it's interesting you guys have us on tonight, because I'm doing a Moab update video, and I have this profiled as a comparison. So the group is Keep Sedona Beautiful, was the original one making complaints. And if you go to their website, they have videos about the OHV crisis in Sedona, the dust, the noise, the volumes of users.
Can we put crisis
and then you have to hand it to the city. Yeah, it's huge on their website. Mm-hmm. But you have to give credit to the city to actually commission an environmental impact study to see if the claims were
that was the big thing.
True.
This was a study by the city.
That's all we want. I think that's actually legitimate.
100%.
I would be really happy if that's what you really did. Like, go check it out and have some facts and data to go with what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, this
You
was
know,
All
the
right, now,
loudest
one
one
more
they
quick
measured
news
was, I
story.
think,
yeah, this
you
was.
know,
All right,
the
now,
loudest one they
quick
measured
news
was, I
story.
think.
No,
Go
what'd you
ahead.
say, Marcus?
I'll let you finish. The fun part of this is the discussions. I'll let you
Oh, I
guys
was
finish.
just gonna say they just talked about the loudest OHV measured was 98 decibels. That's about that of a sitting lawnmower if
Yeah.
you walked past it.
Yeah.
OHV use was not even the dominant use on 4 out of those 5 trails. It was full size 4x4 vehicles.
And you're not
The
getting the
dust
same
levels
kind of...
were not at exactly issues with that. The dust levels were not at any level that was unhealthy for humans to breathe.
Right.
And the on-ground impacts, like disturbing the soil, accounted for 0.004% of the Coconino National Forest area. So it's statistically insignificant.
Yeah.
Basically.
Wow.
It's fascinating to read down through the results.
Oh, when you start...
So if I was there smoking a cigarette, that would probably give more of an impact.
Probably, and they probably have you on video too, because they have trail cams set up everywhere where they were watching OHVs drive by when it was super windy and measuring the dust and zooming in on the dust that was blowing by. So Jason, you would
That
fit right
shit
in
would
down
go
there.
viral.
Yeah.
That would go viral. Look at that. I mean, look at this asshole smoking. I'd be like, yeah, you don't like it? Hold your fucking breath.
So having had done a lot of this stuff with Trails Off Road and stuff like that over the last 5 or 6 years, I can tell you that video is a very tricky thing. You see everything that is here that I want you to see. I want you to see this space that if you're watching us on YouTube or if you're watching it later on or whatever else, this is the controlled space, right? Like I have other things going on. I have a lot of spaces and a lot of crap around me. So when you're doing this, when you see these videos from these guys put these dusty videos together, they look really nice because they're shot from low and they're shot right after a couple of vehicles run by and there's a little bit of dust coming through. But the other part of the story is that only happens for 30 minutes or 40 minutes out of an afternoon total. But they would make you believe that it's all day, every day, and doesn't stop, and that it's kicking up 14 times as much dust as it is and damaging road that isn't. And it's fun. But I'm glad that the city of Sedona actually did some science to it. And it's like, no, it's not as big a problem as you guys are telling us it is.
It's like, hey, I'm actually going to say something serious this time. Like,
everybody stop.
Yep. You hold on to yourselves for a second. It's going to be crazy. But these types of things drive me nuts, right? Like, I've done some practices when I used to be sitting in the seat where I used to sit, which was a pretty influential spot in the military. But at the same time, it's like when you get complaints and stuff, they crack me up. And a lot of people will come back with, well, I have this knowledge of it, all this data on it. And of course, first question I always ask is, where'd you get that data? Oh, well, I Googled it. And if anybody out there has ever tried this, they know exactly what I mean. Depending on how you Google anything, you'll get exactly what you're looking for. So if you want something to be something, the way you Google it will give you every piece of data that you need to basically support what your thought is. But I would challenge anybody out there to actually go ahead and Google it the opposite way, and they'll get just as much. And that's the world we live in now, is everybody wants to feed off the internet, and nobody does any real concrete data checking on it. So I applaud the place for actually, hey, let's do our own study. So I'm with Pope on this. Like, all these complaints, go ahead, like, complain all you want, but if you're going to complain, let's do some real solid data collection on it and actually confirm what it is. Is it a real problem?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and if it is a real problem,
Okay,
let's
I
find
want
a
to go back to me
solution
being
fix it.
stupid.
No, you're good.
But let's
Randy, go
identify
ahead.
if it's a real problem.
Well, and I also think that if it is a problem, let's find a way to fix it. Like, instead of just like shutting down an area and making people stay in really condensed areas to make that a problem, let's spread everything out and like be able to like have access to things, especially when it's not a real problem.
Yeah.
I think that.
And I think OHV.
By the way,
Or find a solution. If it really is a problem, I don't want to like destroy this beautiful land that I love to be on. But if it's not actually
the last
happening,
thing I want to do is ruin it.
Right.
By the way, my dog Moose, he can bark over 100 decibels.
Oh, I get that. Mm-hmm.
So like you bring one dog, I could bring my one dog, and he's worse than all the off-roading vehicles. So
I have a neighbor with two
Yep.
small 10-pound dogs, and I guarantee you that the two of them combined, and Alan, if you're listening, I love you. Your dogs are loud. The
JD, I'm with you. I have to yell at Lily about this all the time. We got a fucking little cocker spaniel. That son of a bitch never shuts the fuck up. And it's like nobody in the house even knows it's barking. I'm legally deaf. I got fucking hearing aids. And I'm like, how can you not hear that? The neighbors are going to complain about us. And they're like, what are you talking about? I think little dogs are the worst.
yeah, they're just. I feel like they're louder. Just it hits your ear different. But that's a different discussion for a different podcast. So, but yeah, the noise stuff. It's a lot of it is overblown, and then there's areas where stuff gets out of control. In fact, when Pope gets to the next story, because I want to chat with Craig and Marcus about it, because that's in our backyard. In fact, so Pope will go. Can you read that one real fast?
Yeah, let's do. All right. So this is officials are moving ahead with a plan to manage shooting across the Pike National Forest. So this is in your backyard. The U.S. Forest Service is planning to oversee shooting activities in the expansive Pike National Forest, covering 1.1 million acres in central Colorado. With a rising local population and increased interest in target shooting over the past decade, that's strange, proposed strategies aim to manage risks. The plan includes establishing at least one shooting range in each of the 3 ranger districts, with 7 potential sites under consideration. To address safety, infrastructure, and private property concerns, some areas in the Pike National Forest may see restrictions on dispersed target shooting.
Who the fuck target practices across 1.1 million acres?
Well, it's not.
That's a hell of a shot.
It's the area they're talking about that it's allowed. It's not necessarily where.
Oh.
Yeah, it's calm down, Jason. That's all.
The private citizens
gonna
got
be like,
great snipers that can shoot 1.1 million acres.
Yeah, I know, kidding,
I
right?
feel like ain't no terrorists going into that
So
area.
this is literally my backyard. This is I've talked before about Rampart Range. That is part of Pike National Forest, and I know one of those trails is in that area is it's called Old Stage Road, and Old Stage Road is one of those places that is highly contentious around here, mostly because part of it is a county. I think the whole thing is a county road. Now that I think of it, but there has long been an issue, and it's gotten worse in recent years, with speeding of cars and specifically guns and target shooting getting too dirty, I guess is the word I want to take. And we've talked before, I don't want to get into pointing fingers at folks and other groups, but I kind of feel like this at least this review was necessary. I think they've been talking about a couple of specific ranges that they've been kind of bringing it to, but Craig, Marcus, you guys want to take a stab at this? Like, how do you guys feel about this as an issue in general, just around here? Because I know you've both been on that trail, on that road.
Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, Marcus, you can go first.
Okay.
I was gonna say I don't really know that they're just trying to stop shooting in that
I think
area.
the discussion is to have the article is kind of about having a discussion about where shooting is allowed in the Pike National Forest, and I think some of the examples they're going to bring up are Old Stage Road and things like that, because of the amount of debris left over that isn't picked up, the shell casings and televisions, and there are just areas where the trees have been devastated by people shooting them down.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of what it's at. Have you been up an Old Stage?
Yeah. No, I've been up, and yeah, the Colorado Springs group usually meets up at that cantina.
And I know they usually have cleanups that they organize out of there, but yeah, it's a hot mess. Go ahead, Marcus.
I know the last time I was up there, and my wife and I were driving around, and I pulled off to the side, and man, I saw like 4 or 5 streetcars trying to go up there, and I'm like, oh, there's something
look
going
it up
on
there. Yeah, there's always a party. Marcus, but
I like the party.
I'm aware of you, Jason. We're all aware of you.
Sorry. Cheers.
What do you think,
Yeah,
Marcus?
I've been up there a few times, JD. When we a year and a half ago, I was on Eagle Rock that leads right there off of Old Stage.
Oh, yeah.
And almost the entire length of the trail, it sounded like a war zone.
Yeah.
Just down through that canyon, coming across areas where, like JD said, there's half an acre of land where the trees have just been mowed down because of so much shooting. And then the issues start to become like you flattened an area, and then everybody starts dumping their trash there. It starts to become like a congregation type of an area. So, I think Randy said it best. Like when we look at some of those things and we see there actually is a problem here. And in this case, I credit the Pike National Forest. They're not trying to outlaw it. It's what I say between like outlawing something and public land anarchy, that the middle ground there is. So, trying to institute some level of management.
Right?
We've got these areas that we can shoot. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So identifying some areas that don't have a large number of other recreational opportunities around them right now, to seclude that for like some of the target shooting specific ranges and stuff. As far as like a management decision, this doesn't give me issues whatsoever.
No,
I
don't. It doesn't give me either.
Sure.
In fact, I'm in the same boat. I feel like this is a good thing. They're actually asking for input. They have done stuff like this before, and they haven't banned it or anything, but they have restricted shooting to certain places, and part of that's to protect people and property. Old Stage, as an example, is one of those places that's the first couple of miles are through private property. So people go through there and they're shooting.
Right.
If they're shooting targets, great. If not, worse. But it's still private property there. So I think some of this is good. And, areas like the turkey tracks, which is well aware in the same. It's done by. I'm starting to think of it right now. I can't even think of it. It's off 67. But Turkey Tracks is one of those areas that's far away from a lot of people, and there isn't a whole lot of areas, and there's a concerted effort to kind of keep that area clean, and they do that every year. So, I think this is a good thing. I think it's good. Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of. I never know how these stories are going to go as I'm reading them. Sometimes I'm like, oh wait.
No, and that's good. I like that. Yeah, because I do like when you get pissed off.
Forest or pro Pike National Forest today.
Well, they're not. We can't look at them like they're our complete foes. We got to try to, if we're gonna get along, we got to find the good and the bad and find the things that we all agree on. This is one of the things that we agree on. This is management. It's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I think that's true. We agree with that too. You don't. I don't know of any area in Utah that's completely like open to shooting areas, right? But we have some areas like right on the way to our favorite places to go camping, where there's like 3 spots on the side of the road they've set up where people can set up targets and do shooting and do whatever. And somehow, like, sometimes construction equipment makes its way in there somehow. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. So they stole an outhouse and started shooting the outhouse one time. But beyond that, it's kind of like, it's comical to see what's in those places. Now, there's a converse of this, is like, you're leaving trash out in the middle of the national forest.
Well,
like,
that's the thing is we need to
you need to pick up after yourself.
Yeah.
If you steal that outhouse and shoot it, take your YouTube videos and your Instagram videos. I'm an Instagrammer. I love my Instagram videos. Believe me.
Clean up after yourself.
Take your videos, but then clean up after yourself when you're done. And we cleaned up after my Jeep when we tipped it over. Like, that's just responsible. We don't leave that crap laying on the ground and ruin it. So
I think in some areas, like part of the problem with Old Stage is that it's so easily accessible. It's up at the top of a residential area to enter the trail or the road, and then you're off. So like Craig said, you can see a lot of little cars, and just about any Prius can probably handle it after they've graded it. Should they is a different discussion. That's how we end up with a washboard. But the biggest problem out that way has always been the shooting. We moved here in 2015, and I did Old Stage for the first time after they reopened it after the floods from 2012, and it was gorgeous all the way through. There was no trash, there was no issues, and in the next 3 years, it was the shooting trash that really did it in. Yeah, we can complain about the Subarus all day, but it was the trash that always got to me. So it's nice to see them actually talking about doing something and not talking about banning it, just talking about doing it better. So
corralling it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Especially with weapons, right? We're talking about guns. we're talking about firing, things that can kill people. I think it's important that we take that extra step to make sure that we're not just cleaning up the trash, but doing it safely and away from populated areas. So cool. All right. Well, that's it for news. Thank you, Pope. I'll send you the video I have for the news stuff, and then if you could try to play it, and maybe you'll have some better luck with it than I do, because I've tried now like 4 episodes in a row and I'm not working.
Yeah, I haven't figured out. Now that I'm kind of I'm on the same platform as you, I'll try to see if I can figure out what's.
Randy's gonna hate both of us. Just so you know, she's gonna hate it. She's not gonna like any of it because we're gonna geek out on this stupid crap.
She hates every time I switch to the other screen to screw around with it. She's not a fan.
I got your back. I got you guys' back, Randy.
What?
At least their setup is better than this. Can you turn the camera?
Our first setup was literally that. We were in the garage in front of Misfit.
Yeah, Jason is still our Blair Witch Project contributor.
The Blair Witch Project.
This is my setup. Check out them slippers,
there
baby.
You go, buddy.
But it looks like Jenga up there. That's how I hold my phone in place right there. That's like high quality.
Yeah, we'll send you a tripod.
Yeah, look at that.
So if you want to donate to our Patreon so that we can buy Jason a tripod, please visit the website, thetrailheadnetwork.com.
I like this.
Listen,
we got to get you
works
something.
Good.
No, you just want to continue to be a hobo in the garage.
Yeah,
right.
that's my
fair enough.
That's my
mojo
right
I want to see
there.
your Tetris on the back porch where you're in front of your little fireplace thing back there.
Oh no, you don't want to see that. That one's bad, and I just can't be out. It's too fucking cold.
I also feel like when
my propane bill.
I feel like he has a child that is his videographer most of the time. If he and Lily are on the camera, I feel like there's a young child doing labor.
I'll let Lily's sister say know that you said that.
All right, cool. Well, awesome.
She's Latina too. You better look out.
I've seen the videos. I'm not screwing with any of them.
Throw a chocolate at your head.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm gonna stay in the garage all night. I ain't going back in there. Fuck that.
As long as you can stay warm, buddy, we're good. Yeah. All right. Well,
I got a heater. I just filled my propane tanks. I'm good.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get into it then. Marcus, again, welcome. Thanks for coming on again. I wanted to do this with you mostly because this is kind of it's a really good example of how jacked this process can get. And I also just wanted to give everybody kind of a good introduction to C.O.R.E and what you guys do, because I'd like to have you guys on a regular basis just to kind of talk about stuff, because Wildcat Canyon is good to talk about for us as a group because it's important, it's high profile locally here. But there are plenty of other issues that a lot of folks never hear about, and hopefully we can try to elevate that stuff a little bit. Craig, you know Wildcat Canyon as Hackett, Metbury, and Longwater, and those trails have all been basically under dispute since the 2012 Hayman fire, and they closed them all down because of the fire. Was it 2012? Yeah, it's 2012.
2002.
2002. I'm a decade off. It was 2002.
Yeah, Jesus. 2002.
And then they opened it back up in 2012, at least to the county line. Well, you know what? You know this situation better than I do. I'll let you go for it, Marcus. Go ahead. Go for it.
So, at one time, and maybe even still now, Wildcat Canyon, the Gulches, right? That's what we know them as, because
the Gulches.
Metbury, Hackett, Longwater, they're all the Gulches. Corral Creek. It's an interconnected trail system, which was probably one of the best known trail systems in the entire state of Colorado, just because of the mileage you could travel. You could enter from any different place and go down to the South Platte River, and then there were several river crossings with the South Platte as part of the trail network too. So, JD, when's the first time you drove the Gulches?
So, I first drove the Gulches in 2016, and I'm well past the statute of limitations, I believe, so I can say I went on Corral Creek because the person I was with was ignoring the closure order, and I had no idea. So we actually crossed the creek, and that happens a lot down there. Find that out later.
Yeah. And then, Craig, have you driven the gulches or ridden them or anything like that?
Yeah, that's it's one of my favorite ones. But my first time there is probably like 2020.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't have to admit to
so
anything
do you
nefarious, Craig. You're good.
No, I've never gone down and crossed the creek because everybody I go with.
Well, it's because at least 4 times a year people hydrolock in there. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You gotta build your Jeep bigger.
Dope. Not there.
No.
Go ahead, Marcus.
I gotta visit Colorado.
As far as like management, it's an area that we call the Bermuda Triangle because there is the jurisdiction overlap of what happens in this trail section that usually the on-ground user has no idea that they could travel through 4 different counties in this section of land, and then 2 different Forest Service districts in this section of land. So, you're going from one jurisdiction to another, and you just look at it as a trail on the ground, and most people have no idea. And that's kind of the muddy history of the gulches. But as JD said, the Hayman fire, which at the time in 2002 and really up until about 4 years ago was the largest wildfire in the state of Colorado's history that we've ever recorded. And ironically, it was started by a Forest Service employee during an incredibly dry year out here in Colorado. And so what's happened, what usually will happen.
Dear John letter.
Yeah. Burning a Dear John letter. That's exactly
like it was
right.
really, it's really as silly as that sounds, guys. It was a Forest Service person who was a scorned lover burning a letter, and then it got out of hand.
That is insane.
Real life.
So the who sent the Dear
real
John
life is
letter,
stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Do they feel like they're responsible?
She's in jail for it, so I hope she does. In fact, I think her parole.
Is she?
Oh yeah,
still?
I think she got denied a couple years ago to get out.
Wow.
Denied?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember why. I'd have to take a look, but yeah, I'll show you guys some videos of that area. The devastation from that fire is insane, and it's the parts of it burned the ground so hot that it took a decade before stuff started to grow again because it just killed everything in the soil. So it was terrible. It was the worst thing. It was the worst fire we'd ever had at that point, up until 2020, 21.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yep.
Yep.
The Waldo Canyon, or
Waldo Canyon's nearby here. It was the one up north. I can't remember. Either way.
There's been 2.
Yeah, that's why it's such a big issue here in Colorado, is because of that kind of damage. So, but go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry, we got off on a tangent.
Yeah, and so after a wildfire, or even during one, before it's out, and then after it's out, they'll extend like temporary closure orders to the public, just because they don't want anybody in and around the area for any reason. Why they're fighting the fire and then assessing the landscape after the fire, has been controlled and put out. And that's where this story really took a turn, is that you go in there, you assess it, you do an environmental assessment and see how, the terrain looks, what the roads look like, what the erosion could look like. As you can see there, they're what we would consider like highly erosive soils. Just the geographic area and the terrain there.
Yeah, this picture is actually into the canyon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got steep canyons, not a lot of vegetation. I mean, there wasn't even a lot of vegetation before the fire, and then certainly that stripped what was there. And in Colorado, major wildfire is also synonymous with heavy rains right after usually the fire is out. So you get a lot of landscape shifting around. So Forest Service, rightly so, closed the area to public use, and then they go in and they do an environmental assessment, and they come back with a report from that, and then a document that says findings of no significant impact. So when they came back, they said actually the roads are in great condition. The maintenance on the roads was done at an appropriate level to allow them to still be in such good condition. So they went through a process to see how they were going to reopen the roads, what they were going to look like for public access. And the area was pretty contentious because of the South Platte River. And you have a number of the environmental groups that are very, very active in Colorado, and they'll look at any opportunity possible to, try and leverage closure somewhere. So behind the scenes, they were, really pushing on the Forest Service never to reopen those roads or to stall or to try and, just keep the process in limbo, because it was never an outright closure. They were just a temporary closure on those roads. And some of those counties, Teller County specifically there, a lot of their economic development and a lot of the things that supported their county is outdoor recreation. And so they were in the Forest Service year and working really hard to try and get, their sections of the roads that were in their county reopened, because that brings a lot of people from the Front Range into Teller County for the off-road experience. And for the most part, those trails are open year-round here. Because occasionally there'll be some snow, but the elevation is low for Colorado, right. So you get out there a lot. So the towns and the county benefited financially just because of the outdoor recreation impact that those trails provide. And they threatened to exert their what's known as RS 2477 right-of-way claim on those routes. And usually land management agencies don't like that, because that takes it away from the Forest Service in this case to manage the road. It turns it over to the county, and then they really have no say. So when they came out with the decision from what they were going to do with the roads after the Hayman fire was over and out, they said that the roads could only be opened if they entered into a maintenance agreement and an easement application was accepted and processed by each of the counties there by the Forest Service. So Teller County would apply for easements on their sections of road, or Park County would, or Jefferson County would, or Douglas County would. And they processed 2 easement applications for Douglas County and for Teller County, which opened maybe half of the trail system, but you still couldn't make a full connection or any of the
Marcus,
loops.
I think we lost you.
Yeah. You hear me now?
I can. You're back. Welcome back.
Okay.
You're good.
Must be this shoddy internet connection here in the mountains.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story. The main section of the routes that cross the river and all of the connections are in a county that's called Park County here. And they submitted 5 different easement applications over a period of 7 years to the Forest Service. And the Forest Service sat on every single one of them, said they lost the paperwork, said they didn't know the status of the roads, said they couldn't get people out there to assess them, even though they just did an environmental assessment. Just did everything they possibly could to stall the process to never give an easement to this county.
With no
so then the roads
reasons.
were never a ton of excuses. And there's a gentleman his name is Jerry Panic, and he grew up in this area. He's a multi-generational Colorado native, and his family frequented Teller County, and he helped maintain all of these trails well before the Wildcat Canyon fire.
Shout
just
out
as
to
a
Predator
volunteer.
4x4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he owns Predator 4x4 in Colorado Springs, and so Jerry for decades had worked on these trails. And I've heard of Jerry and Predator, but I first met Jerry at a land use summit in 2018, Mile High Jeep Club's All for Fun, one of the largest Jeep events, certainly in Colorado, but in the West in general. We had a land use summit, and Jerry started talking about how they lost the easement application, the excuses, and Jerry's a good guy. He's a handshake deal guy. If he tells you he's going to do something, he is. So the Forest Service, they're working behind the scenes to stifle the process, but up front, they're telling Jerry that, they're making these excuses, and, Jerry doesn't want to believe that he's being led astray. So he bought him for a long time. And anyway, I heard him talk about this and pleading for help. And after the land use summit, I reached out to Jerry and just was wondering what I could do, if we could look into some stuff. I called the district rangers there in the South Platte district, and the South Park District. I talked to county commissioners in Park County, went through as much of the records as I could possibly find, and stuff just wasn't adding up at all. The excuses I was getting from the rangers were not the same excuses that Jerry had in writing from previous rangers or communication from Forest Service staff. And at that point, another guy that helps me with volunteer projects at C.O.R.E is part of Backcountry Horsemen, and they had sued the Forest Service successfully over an access issue. And he had the name of an attorney from the Garden law firm in Virginia that litigated the case. And on a whim one day, I got frustrated enough, I called and talked to Kevin Garden, who owns the Garden law firm. He answered the phone and told him who I was and how I found his information, just totally cold called him. And he took an interest in what I was saying, and immediately he said, we need to file a FOIA request. We need to figure out what's going on behind the scenes based on what you're telling me. And, FOIAs are weird. They're very helpful if you get what you're looking for, but in some ways they're a point of no return. I mean,
once you
kind of
ask
poison
for that,
your relationship.
you pretty much decided that you're going to fight something.
Yeah,
you've told them, look, we're done playing nice, and we want to know what's going on.
Exactly. It's definitely a shot over the bow, so to speak. You run out of diplomatic opportunities to call and to try and figure out a solution. So once you file a FOIA, you've got to be prepared to, see that thing all the way through, because you're damaging some relationships and people are going to be pissed off, frankly, that you're going through their email and their communication and everything like that. So we talked about it. We gave the okay, and Kevin filed multiple FOIAs, and we got thousands and thousands of documents back from these FOIA requests. And what we discovered is that blatantly behind the scenes, district rangers, biologists, they were conspiring behind the scenes to not only stifle the easement applications, but try and find ways that they could justifiably close the roads, even though the decision from the environmental assessment didn't give them that opportunity. We found hundreds of emails discussing these types of things, and then we got to the Pike San Isabel lawsuit. We had to do travel management on every single road and trail in the entire forest, and so then that brought these routes into discussion during that project as well. And if you run an objective travel project, you do what we would hope you do what Sedona just did, where you take an objective look at stuff, you see if there's issues. If there are issues, what can we do to mitigate the issues? If there's issues and there's no mitigation options, then maybe closure should be the last result. And these two rangers knew that, so they purposely kept those roads out of consideration for reopening to the public as part of that process. And
they didn't really tell anybody they weren't doing that. They just...
Right. Yeah. And we found all this out through the FOIA documents. Is the way they do that is to analyze a lot of roads. Yeah. The Forest Service basically has a spreadsheet. So they'll document their roads, and they'll say, is this a high desirable recreation area? Are there high risks associated with this area? They have a number of screening criteria that they go through. And then those scores that they develop for that, is it prioritized by the public? And does it have high risk? And then they'll look at the screening criteria, and that'll give them a score. So they basically score these routes. And then they have a matrix that they run the scores back through. And based on the score, it'll give them a default recommendation. Like, this area is really important to the public, and it has a lot of things that could be detrimental. It crosses wetlands. It crosses a river. There's steep slopes, and the soils are highly erodible. But it's really important to the public. So the stock answer would be, we're going to convert that to a full-size motorized trail, and we're going to do specific levels of maintenance to that. So they take it away as being a road. A trail means that it's a recreation asset at that point, and then they move forward. and then they analyze it. And it doesn't mean that they have to accept that recommendation of convert it to a full-size trail, but that's like the starting point for them. Well, what happened here is even though they're the most desirable trail system in the state, they were temporarily closed, so they assigned them a low recreational use value purposely.
Mm-hmm.
And that made that lowered their
just to be
overall
clear,
score.
Yeah, just to be clear, the Forest Service closed the road because of the fire, and then they turned around and said, well, it doesn't have a high recreational value because nobody's using the trail. By the way, it's because we closed it for the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, good stuff.
So, and their own EA, their own environmental assessment after the fire said that they were highly desirable recreation assets to the public. They got thousands of comments during the travel management project saying that they are highly desirable by the public. They got comments from Teller County. They got comments from the city of Woodland Park saying that they are highly desirable recreation assets.
Other government officials.
Yep. So they participated in what's called a cooperating agency. So another government entity weighs in on the government process. So basically every bit of information before the agency says that these are highly desirable public
routes. We'll watch
routes.
you again, Marcus. Wait for your internet to kick back. Marcus
there we go. Got me?
Is in the middle of nowhere, so I give him. And don't worry, Marcus, when we go to air, I just made a mark and I will edit all that out so it won't sound like you ever lost your connection. It'll be good.
Good deal. Behind every good writer is a better editor, right, JD?
I'm telling you again. So this Mark will come back to our what you all didn't just see or hear in the podcast is the reason why you shouldn't trust all the video you see online. We had a very deep conversation about all of you, and you should all be very concerned and listen to the rest of the episode. So go ahead, Marcus.
Exactly. So anyway, all of the information before the agency says that these trails are highly desirable. People from the public comment on the project saying that they're highly desirable. And yet somehow they score them as low recreational use value. Basically, they don't have recreational use value. So that score defaults them as we don't need those roads anymore. They don't matter. They should just be decommissioned. So that's the default answer. And they use that default answer from the scoring system to then say we shouldn't do NEPA on those roads. We shouldn't analyze them for opening to the public. So the travel management project, in all four of their alternatives, never had an option of opening those roads to the public. Right. So by default, the process closed them.
Yeah.
And that's the basis. So then we submitted an objection to that draft decision. We went through the objection process. We notated all of these things. And unfortunately, the regional forester is who rules on an objection. And there was no acting regional forester at the time of this objection meeting. So we had a gal that was standing in as the acting regional forester. And she heard our objections. She made all the notes. And then she came back with her justification for either why they sustain an objection or overrule an objection. We actually won quite a few objections in that
while
objection
she was
meeting.
There. Mm-hmm.
On other roads and trails that we were challenging the closure on. But on this one, we didn't. And she said that it didn't go to a recreational use site. And so that South Park District was right in their scoring system. But what she didn't read was their entire travel management project that said, if the routes were important to the public just for the experience of driving the route itself, didn't have to go anywhere.
Right.
You like driving your four-wheel drive Jeep or truck or whatever it is, Toyota, on that route for the rock crawling experience or the four-wheel drive experience, then it's to be rated high for recreational use value. So unfortunately, she didn't even read their own documentation within the project. And so after that decision, that's why we ended up filing litigation over it.
Right. Well, and to that point, like one of the first time I did Hackett was because someone was trying to show me how to use my Jeep, show me how to use the brand new lift kit I had and the tires I had, because it had all the different kinds of terrain and rock and water crossings. So Craig, how long had you been a wheeler before you did Hackett?
A couple years.
So it
Few
wasn't
years,
like
maybe.
one of your first ones that you'd done.
No,
Okay.
no.
So I think a lot of people in Colorado, though, I think a lot of their first trail, if they're in this area, is one of the gulch trails. Typically, you'll start with like a Metbury and then maybe do a long water and then do the Haggett, kind of step up slowly but surely. So I think to that point, yeah, it's just like it's gorgeous. You guys saw the pictures, you saw the video. It's absolutely pretty down there. But outside of that, it's technical. It's fun. It's fun to do. It's fun to kind of push your Jeep and see what you can do. Even now, a lot of the angles and stuff. Craig, that rock that'll make you hold your breath a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things, it's hard for us to make like a specific NEPA argument. That's the National Environmental Policy Act that the agency has to follow when they make decisions. And if we argue that in front of a judge kind of looks at you and says, "You're not an environmental group. That's not your argument. You guys can't use that." So
Why
to
not?
try and stay away from that,
Okay.
it's not. To be fair, it's
So
just
are
not
they trying
written
to
for
shut
us.
it down?
It is
that
shut
what's
down.
going on?
Yeah. Past
It
the
is.
county line, Craig, you can't
Yep.
travel legally
Yep.
Since when?
since
Since the
2002.
decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's been on off a little bit. And let's be clear, if you're listening and you're in Colorado, Hackett and Longwater, Metbury does not go to the county line or past the county line, but Hackett and Longwater both end at the county line. Period. You can't go past there. I wish you could. You can't. But that's where the demarc
I
is.
see what you're
Mhm.
saying. Okay.
Yeah, you can go all
Yeah.
the way
I was
on
like,
the trail to that
wait, am
point.
I breaking the law or what?
Well, I mean, and sometimes people do. One of the big problems that there is that people tear down the signs, so people don't know necessarily. And it's a whole another issue.
Well, if the sign's down, it's legal, right? No,
Yeah, that would be the justification of you people. And I'm actually kind of surprised. Oh, Jason's
Yeah.
muted. That's why he can't say he agrees with that. Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, I just guess it's the most difficult scenario that you could impose upon, us fighting land use and the users on the ground not understanding what's going on, because you drive
Right.
out there and you drive on Hackett and Longwater and there's no clear defined line where Talent County ends and Park County begins.
Yep.
And the Forest Service, through those thousands of emails we got in a FOIA request, they can't even schedule a day to meet with each other out there because the logistics are just not easy. I mean, for the South Park office that's in Fairplay, you have to drive clear around the other side of the Platte River to get down there.
Right.
It's geographically difficult. So their level of management on the ground there is hard too. So they put up signs and gates, and the first person that goes out there tears those down. There's no management. So people on the ground have no idea about that. We're trying to get them to let us help them maintain the roads to keep them open to the public. At the same time, the public's driving down there because the roads are in perfect shape. Nobody knows that they're closed. Yeah. And then the environmental groups are hanging out down by the river and taking pictures of the motorized people driving down there and saying, "Hey, look at everybody that's breaking the law. Nobody cares about the rules." You know what I mean? So it's just this cycle is stupid that we're all caught in down there that
I still
it's hard
think
to get
that
out
some
of.
of that's by design. Yeah, I think some of that's by design. I think the
Totally.
confusion is on purpose. And that we've talked about that with Black Bear Pass. The county and the sheriff went back and forth with mixed messages about what was open versus what wasn't. And then they waited until they had a Nissan hanging off the edge, so they had their photo op, and the sheriff could say, "Look at all these ass clowns." He could trot out his rehearsed line and then talk about how a horrible OHV people were after they muddied all the waters. And it's the same thing out there. Like I get the desire. They say they can't make permanent signs, and yet there's a sign at the start of Hackett that is a giant metal sign that Predator cut out that has been there for the duration. You mean to tell me you can't alter that sign or put some sort of sign up that is just not going to get torn down in the same way? And it's because the desire isn't there either. It's not just a monetary thing. It's just the desire isn't there. They'd rather close these trails and deal with them. Go ahead, Randy.
No, I was just laughing because Jason has something to say.
Oh, go ahead, Jason. I didn't see you. Sorry, buddy.
You can't fucking mute me forever.
I did. I assumed you could unmute yourself. I figured you would. You were done moving shit around.
Well, no, I just didn't want. I didn't want to interrupt Marcus because that would be not very nice.
He's
But
all right. He can handle
this
it.
goes to my point. It's like fucking people these days want to pick and choose what they think is fucking acceptable on social media, and all of a sudden that comes truth.
I mean, there is.
And you know what I have to say? Let's keep it simple. To the simple-minded people out there, go fuck yourself, okay? Because that's not the whole fucking truth. It's not the whole fucking truth. And you need to listen to both sides of the fucking story. That's what drives me nuts about today's fucking people.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm cursing a lot.
No, you're good.
And once again,
Hit
go
the-
fuck
I'll
yourself.
Click the explicit button. You're
Well,
good.
that's the thing.
It literally just pisses me off that everybody's got a fucking agenda and it's on their own account.
Yeah.
We're a fucking
true,
country here, okay? When we talk about county lines and all this other shit, it's a goddamn country, okay? So if it's open here, it should be open over fucking here, all right? Done. Leave it alone.
Go ahead, Randy.
You know, if it's a funding issue, then maybe the government should get involved. But at the same time, it's like, God damn, man. If the fucking goddamn county line ends here, the trail shouldn't end here.
Yeah.
It's America. All right? Shit. This is ridiculous. It's like, it's so stupid, the shit that we have to go through because we got so many fucking Karens out there. And to go to my point earlier, Karen, it's just a statement. If your name's Karen, I'm sorry.
Apologize to all the
Yeah.
Karens out there, and if your name is
Yeah,
Karen and you
then
would like
you should get mad at your mom and dad. I'm
if you
sorry.
if you
It
would
just-
like
it
to
just
explain
happened.
to Jason how much you hate him, the phone number is 719-408-0132. Go ahead, Randy.
Oh, I just
I'll mute
think
myself on this one.
No, I just think that like communication is key, and also like getting the right information. I think that it's really crazy that I think all sides usually have some sort of truth to them, and if we could all communicate and try to find ways to work with each other, that's what's so crazy about this is like hearing stories like this. It's like,
Well-
why are you trying to hold this land hostage? Why is this like a
this
thing?
underhandedly? Why aren't you doing it through legitimate channels? Like if you're so noble, then doing it through the right channels, the proper channels, would actually work for you, you know. But you don't use facts and numbers. You don't use data. You're just inventing animals that don't really exist or whatever. Like Randy hates when I say that. But
No, you're right.
I agree. What the fuck is a Pokemon?
And if you get the app, I guarantee you can catch one out on the trail, Jason. You'll be
and
good.
there were so many Pokemons on American Fork Canyon when Pokemonville was out. I couldn't
Oh,
believe
Christ.
it.
There we go. All right. But yeah, and I think that's the thing that bothers me about this particular situation, and part of why I wanted to talk about like land use stuff on this podcast, because this was one of those situations where when I first got into doing this stuff, I was like, well, if you work with the Forest Service and you do the land use stuff and you do the cleanups and you do all the rest of the stuff, you do all the advocacy stuff, then the trails stay open and everybody gets their part and everybody's happy at the end of the day. And then you hear the story and you find out, well, yeah, you can do all the cleanup that you want to. You can try to catch as many plates of people being stupid, and you can do whatever you want to do when it comes to that part of it. But when you start to get the emails from people, it turns out they actually never had any intention of trying to open in the first place. And then that's where it becomes a political thing. And we talked about that with Ben Burr. Like if we all kind of got into the sport to be apolitical about it, and then you get into it and you're like, God damn it, it's all turning into political. It's because there are people involved. There are people and politics.
There's people involved. It's true, and everywhere we go is some sort of public land, one way or the other. Like if it's it's either a state park or it is BLM land or it is some sort of private or public land. It's state trust land and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, and all of these places that we get to go wheel, that's the case. It's always that way. And we have to do things through the legal channels the right way to keep them open when people are going through and underhandedly closing them. Like, we can't underhandedly keep them open. Like, underhandedly keep them open means breaking the law and then basically falling right into what they're trying to say. Like, look at these a-holes over here, these ass clowns over here going past my do not open sign.
And I hate to say it, but that's what's going to happen in Moab. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it. You know, I tell this story a lot, and it's probably the worst land use story I've ever been involved in, and certainly the information that we uncovered as part of it is the worst stuff I've ever seen. But you know, I always try to say that we still have great relationships with a lot of Forest Service people, a lot of districts. You know, we talked with the first part of this broadcast that this is in the Pike National Forest too. So you know, we talked about the shooting one, we talked about them designating areas for shooting, and we all agree on that piece of it. And the Wildcat Canyon's in the Pike National Forest, and
that's just like it's a difference between two management agencies. Right?
Yeah. So the shooting place, like in the Pike or in the Pikes Peak district, and then this is over in the South Park district. But you know, we 9 out of 10 times the advocacy part of like the stewardship ethics and volunteerism does work. We've done a ton of great work on the ground, keeping trails open and doing, you know, building relationships and working together with land managers to help manage our land. And then this is what I say, like, so the stewardship side's over here. We got to do that. And then every once in a while, you got to stand up for yourself though, too, right? You got to say, hey, wait a minute, that's not okay. We're out there doing just as much work as you guys are doing, and we know these areas probably better than you do. And land managers, this isn't okay. This decision doesn't make sense. The evidence doesn't line up. It's not right. And it's unfortunate. We probably spent over $50,000 already in this litigation. That could have gone a long ways for trail maintenance here, for road maintenance, for signs, for infrastructure, for education, for the public out there. I mean, that amount of money could have gone a long ways instead of us just fighting
advocacy work. Yeah, that's
fighting them.
Huge.
Yeah. So
did you have a question, Craig?
That's really the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting stuff.
So do we talk about the motivations behind the folks? Like, I know they say that the stuff is conservation. Some of the groups that I've read some of their stuff online, and it sounds like they've got they're trying to make a valid argument. I don't know if there is a valid argument. Do you think there's a different motivation to this other than wildlife, or is it just like I'm a firm believer that a lot of these folks just don't want other types of recreational users in these areas, and I often think that we find that at a lot of the core of these.
Totally. I would say that is the most likely situation on the ground in Wildcat Canyon is what you just said, based on everything I've seen and being involved in this. You know, we can divert the issue to all these other little things. We could talk about wildlife. We could talk about fish habitat. We could talk about water quality, because South Platte River is one of the main water sources for the city of Denver. It runs into Cheeseman Reservoir. We could talk about all of those things. And the only issue, though, is once you add more details to the scenario, a lot of those arguments fall apart, because there's like 5 reservoirs as part of that water system that allow motor use on those. So we're backing trucks and trailers into we're backing a truck and a trailer and putting a motorized boat through a boat launch on 5 different reservoirs along this entire water system, but a vehicle can't drive through the South Platte River during low water.
10 seconds,
you know what I mean?
We don't sit in those rivers. We don't. I don't want to sit
exactly
my differential in there.
And then Highway 24 runs right next to the South Platte River with a lot of bridges and overpasses, and every drop of oil that any vehicle spills on that road ends up in that river in some place, right? Like, when you
Yeah,
start
I
to
didn't think
really
about that.
add all
Wow.
of the
Mhm.
details, a lot of these arguments just have holes in them. So they're just a smokescreen. It's very similar to the Moab argument. It's quiet users, non-motorized recreation, love Wildcat Canyon. They like going down there and like doing things, and they don't
Yeah.
want to share that experience with anybody else. And so then
Which-
we get this whole diversion of issues that crop up of why we can't go down there anymore.
Yeah. Which is all well and good until they come for your anchors, right? Until they come for your climbing anchors, so you can't get back
Right.
there anymore, and you can't actually climb it anymore. So it's all great until you can't do that either.
Oh, and I would go back. One thing I left out about the objection meeting is we put a compromise proposal on the table at the objection meeting. So we show up to the Forest Service objection meeting. They've closed the trails. We say we don't think that's right, but because there are some of these issues on the table, and we would like to meet in the middle and at least discuss some of them, we propose creating looping trail options on both sides of the river system without actually crossing the river. And we said we could connect Hackett and we could connect Longwater on the east side of the river,
Mhm.
and then we could figure out Corral Creek on the west side of the river and what to do down there. So users could still go down by the river. You could enjoy
even
the
if-
area, you could fish, you could
Yeah.
hang out, and we would have looping trail options that didn't actually cross the river down there.
And then
And
you
the
can
Forest
take
Service
your
wouldn't even
VA
interested
boat
in
on
hearing
the
it.
lakes. You can take your VA boat on the reservoirs along that river.
Mhm.
Well,
So
but I get what you're trying to do, though. I mean, that's
no, I
that's-
think
that's logical.
you're giving an answer.
You're taking
like, that's
away
the
like
thing, is-
I mean, it's already a weak argument because like the point that you made with the boats on the reservoirs, right? Like driving a Jeep over this for 4 seconds is nothing compared to what the boats are doing in the reservoir to the water system that you drink. So you make a valid point there, and I just think that it's I don't know, man. We just
and you're giving them an answer,
giving them an
a
answer.
solution to what their problem
But
was.
you're not just going and complaining. You're like, look, okay, fine. If that's the worry, then let's drive around it and let's not. That's a way better solution,
Right.
than doing nothing at all. I think it's wonderful to do that, but the original argument's weak anyway. But even working around
True.
that, and if they're not going to work with you, that's kind of crappy.
Do you think?
And sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
Well, I was just going to say that, realistically, and people ask me sometimes, litigation's like the FOIA. Like if you pull the trigger and you file a complaint in federal court, you got to be able to see it all the way through, right? You have to think of scenarios and options and what may or may not happen as you go through that process. So, likely if we were to prevail on any level, there'll be some type of a compromise anyway. We're not going to get everything we want. The environmentalists aren't going to get everything they want. At this point, we'd be okay with that because half of what we want is better than what we have right now, right? And so, looking at those options and looking at things that we could do and figuring out a creative scenario that still allowed public access, still allowed recreational experience down there, and then still, was receptive to those concerns is probably the best way to go. Whether that happens or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was interesting how the objection, though, that compromise proposal was handled is the Forest Service never considered it, which tells me that the ultimate goal was always to close those trails. It was never to find a, middle ground solution throughout the process and just try and figure it out. It was just, we're going to close the trails. And then we kind of pulled a curveball. We found all this information. We proposed a compromise plan, and they weren't even prepared to look at it at that point because that was the ultimate goal, was closure. So it'll be interesting how it all shakes out.
Well, somebody was ready to fight. I think they picked a fight on a trail that was just too beloved in this area, and everybody's like, I'm not letting it go that easy. And no more people know that it's closed officially these days than they used to, but I don't think enough. I think if more people knew that it was like, if somebody put a concrete barrier up there and stopped people from going, I think there'd be an uproar.
So,
go ahead, Jason. Feel like you had a question. You're over there waving your hand.
No, I was just saying you just drive over the barrier.
There is that too. Jason is our outlaw, so take all of his
I'm
advice.
not an outlaw. Everybody's got me pegged as that. But hey, we have trails here in the Pac Northwest, those shit where there's a gatekeeper. And
Really?
literally, if you can make it around the gatekeeper,
set of rocks that you can't get past.
Yeah.
No, the gate's down. Well, yes, but there's
have
a
them all
gate
over Sand
down,
Hollow,
and then
too.
there's like a way around it. If you can make around it, then you're okay on the trail.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some of those
But-
here too. Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I was like, I used to go over the. Yes.
I mean,
yeah,
if they're
they-
not gonna, they have to. They do at least need to put up a sign, like the thing that happened with Black Bear Pass. So like the ass clown didn't even put up a freaking sign to say the road is closed anyhow,
Yeah.
right? And if you aren't going that far, then you're like, whoa, look at this, blah 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 blah. Like, come on, man, you didn't even close this road
Hey,
properly.
We were on our way to
Paul,
we were on our way there, and so we were trying to check out because we were like, is Black Bear open, is it not? And there was like this grayness, and then all of a sudden that happened, and then it was like, how are you such an idiot? Like,
You're like,
it's
well,
like,
because you didn't put up
Yeah.
a damn sign, and then you're like, well, look, it's closed. Well, there's no sign. Well, I don't care. Off-roaders suck.
yeah,
Well,
and we
and-
did
and
like we
the-
were even, it was like questionable to us. I mean, I think that you should always check to make sure that trails are open, especially in the case of
Yeah.
Black Bear Pass, where it's like a snow situation where you could die. But I mean, it's
That
like
is a big deal.
interesting.
Yes, exactly. Mhm.
Right, you know, like it's
I
think
there's
there's
a
good.
Tahoe stuck on it right
There's a
now.
what, bro?
Probably.
I like
Yeah.
snow. I like snow.
I think there's like a
Yeah,
Suburban
that
or
sounds
a
about
Tahoe
right.
or someone stuck on there right now. I just saw that last week.
Is that
Right.
your Suburban?
It's JD's.
Hey, Pope, Randy.
What?
So you guys have been to Colorado?
Here's where Jason invites himself to my home. Ready for it?
So it's coming.
So
It's
I know.
coming.
We
didn't know.
went to-
It's funny
We
because
stayed
we
in Wantros, was it?
yeah we
Montrose.
went we
Okay,
were
yeah,
gonna
that's
we
near
were
Marcus.
staying in Montrose, but my Jeep broke driving into the parking lot, so we didn't get out of the Holiday Inn Express parking lot in Montrose. So have we been to Colorado
Dude.
to Will? Yes. Have we actually been on a
I
trail?
love Holiday
No.
Inn Express. It's like the white trash version of fucking classy.
Reason number
But
one,
hey.
we have a new shop.
But
yeah,
hey.
no. So we've been in the area and we wanted to wheel. We were trying to wheel.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh,
Let's
I'm
go
ready.
see JD.
Let's go
Come
see
on,
JD.
guys.
Let's all go wheel.
Well, we're only 4 hours
I don't have
away
anything
from
to
Colorado.
do.
come on.
We're
out.
only
Well, wait until spring.
Wait a
You guys- I
minute.
don't
Wait
have
a minute.
don't
Did
have
you
a
just
Jeep
say
right now.
4?
we're 4 hours away.
You can ride with
from,
me, JD.
Yeah, you're fine. Because then
Yeah.
I'll come up.
Yeah,
I'll
you can ride.
follow you guys back and do Sand Hollow. We'll just make a thing of it, or we'll do it the other way.
Yeah,
around.
Yeah. And JD, you can definitely ride with me. You'll be okay.
I'll
It's
be
safe.
yeah, I'll be all right. I can handle it with mine. My Jeep is rather
Jason-
capable. I
Jason's
know it's
Jeep
that
is
middle
very
ground
safe.
thing, but still. But
Fuck.
to Jason, to your point earlier, one of the biggest problems with Hackett and Longwater and stuff is Facebook. It's
It's fucking social media, you fucktards.
Well-
Stop posting stupid shit.
and I don't even mean so much as people doing some stupid things and then posting it. The amount of misinformation about these kinds of things is insane. And if you go on there and you say, as a person, you know, if Marcus were to go on one of these Facebook groups and be like, hey guys, Hackett's closed, I guarantee you half the comments would be like, fuck you, dude, it is not closed. I don't care what you say. And then those people are just, they're determined that we're just going to keep doing it. And those Forest Service people who are looking to close these trails are counting on that stuff. So as much as you
Yeah,
don't
so
want
anybody that's listening, like, do your fucking due diligence like an adult
Yeah.
and find out for yourself. I mean, it's like, God
And
damn,
I'm-
it pisses me off.
and I'm not,
Like, I tell you right now, myself personally, even in Sand Hollow, like, I finished a drink, right? I drank my body armor, whatever, because I work out a lot. And, no, it's a lie, but I still drink it once in a while. I went to throw it inside my Jeep, and it went through one side and out the other, and I didn't even realize it. And you know what? I had great friends that were like, hey, tread lightly, bro. And I'm like, okay, shit, fuck, what happened? They explained it to me. I was like, my bad. I went over and I picked it up.
Yeah.
When I picked it up, I picked up 3 other pieces of trash with it.
Yeah.
Just take care of yourselves. Be adults. Come on, you're ruining it for everybody else. It's something as simple as that. Like, if you walk over it and you see it, but you don't do anything about it, guess what? Everybody else around you saw you do it, and now it's okay.
Yeah.
So, set the trend.
Yep.
All you people out here who might be listening to this podcast, That's you.
Yeah.
Every person has a part in this. Don't walk over a piece of trash.
Yeah,
Pick
and if
it
it's
up.
if
Because
you
it
see
sets a
everybody
precedence for the next person.
I think the general rule is that if you see everybody fighting about it on Facebook, let's narrow this down to just trails, shall we? If you see people fighting about it on Facebook, maybe just do a little research, double check it, just to see if it's actually
You know what would be
true or not.
great, JD? You know what would be great, JD,
What's
is if people on fucking Facebook would fight over the fact of like, hey, I saw you walk over that. You didn't pick it up. That's where we need to be at in life.
I mean,
When the youngest person out there is arguing about somebody else who walked over a piece of trash and didn't pick it up. When we get to the youngest person out there doing that, we've succeeded, and everybody else will follow.
Yeah, we'll get there. In the meantime, we just got to pick up the extra trash and try to make sure that people understand that that's not the biggest problem we're looking at out here. It's trash is an issue, especially when we talk about, I was talking about Old Stage earlier. Old Stage is a significant problem. I think all the three people here from Colorado would agree that it's a problem. But you get away from the populated areas of Colorado into the trails that are a little bit more isolated. Garbage is just not an issue. I've never really run into a ton of trash on Hackett. I usually do it 3 or 4 times a year on a weekday. So right after the weekend where I would expect there to be a whole lot of extra crap, it's just not. So the narrative that there's a ton of garbage out there and that is our biggest problem is something that we've got to fight simply like you said, Jason, by just picking it up and then making sure that other people around us are doing the same thing. I'm not going to tell you to, confront anybody on the trail. Don't do that. Jason, you're probably armed, but I'm not a person who carries a weapon, and I don't want to have a confrontation. There's a lot of people who, and I probably shouldn't have said that on air, but there are a lot of people that do carry, weapons in the backcountry, and for good reason. But if you don't feel comfortable, grab a license plate, snap a picture, make sure that you go back and report that. When we as responsible off-roaders report that stuff back to the Forest Service, I hope that it helps put us in a better life. I hope that it doesn't, give them just more ammo to hit us with. But I would hope that they're actually using those things to ticket people. But
hey, JD.
Yeah, go ahead. Just
my narrative that I'm trying to push right now is not so much about, hey, trails that have trash versus trails that don't, populated areas versus unpopulated areas. My narrative is the smallest detail goes a long fucking way.
Agreed.
So
100%.
That's my thing is, and I know you understand that.
Yeah.
But I want the audience to know, whether the audience is big or small, it doesn't fucking matter. Is the smallest thing can go a long way. That one person who stops and picks up whatever it is, or that one person that's like, hey, you're leaking differential fluid or oil.
Yeah. That's
and they do something about it. That stuff right there goes a long way.
Yep.
That teaches the next person who teaches the next person. And that's good trail etiquette.
Yeah.
That supports the tread lightly.
And it's good.
That supports us in the future. People like Marcus not having to go out there and educate people,
and spend $50,000 to try to open, a few miles of trails.
Exactly.
We're not talking about a ton of mileage, but it's important.
No, not at all.
Yep.
It's like, come on, people. Everybody enjoys this stuff. So if everybody enjoys this stuff, do your part, get involved. And if you think that you're so insignificant, you're not. Because the smallest thing could be is like telling your friend, hey, don't throw your cigarette butt outside.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah. And tell them,
I have a fucking can.
And
I smoke like a fucking chimney.
And don't just tell
my
them
my first fucking bottle.
Yeah. Well, and don't just tell them not to do it, but tell them why. Like when you do this, you give ammo to people who want that ammo. They want it so they can close this shit so you can't come down here anymore. And the first thing is going to be a rope, right? And it's going to be the chain or whatever. But then when you tear that down, eventually it's going to be a concrete wall. They're going to keep you out if they want to keep you out.
You're helping.
Here, let me paint that picture better for you.
Oh, here we go.
When you don't do these things, you build a rope. And eventually it creates this noose.
Here we go.
And guess what? Yep. we all get hung by that fucking noose if you don't do your fucking
And
part.
now I'm going to have to check
And then-
Spotify and
yeah.
see if we have to worry about any kind of trigger warnings or anything because we brought up the word
Fuck
noose.
Spotify.
How
God
many F
damn
words
it.
are we allowed to say before we have to be explicit?
I recognized I was going to have to hit the explicit button when I posted this a long time ago, so we're good today. Go ahead, fuck it up.
Yeah, but you know what, JD? This is real world shit.
Oh
Fucking
yeah,
people
we're not
are
worried
fucking
about
up,
it. Yeah,
You know?
as long as you're and
Yeah.
Jason, I want to be very clear about this. I'm gonna make sure that I get you the good face shot because I want you to understand this when I look at you. You cannot show your junk on this podcast. I'm telling you
Did
that
I show-
now.
I did.
You can't. I'm just I'm just prefacing. I want to make sure that I
Fuck,
keep
dude,
this.
God damn it, JD, you just scared me, dude. I was like, did I just?
No, if that had happened, I would have told Lily so that she
Should I
could tell
take
you
the
once
webcam
you
to the
sobered up.
bathroom with me?
But if I did, I might score a fucking deal with somebody, right?
You might. I don't know. The internet's done weirder
Probably.
shit.
No,
right,
I've
there's a
seen my
float for
junk,
every
dude.
boat,
I
Jason.
ain't scoring a deal with anybody.
Nobody needs to see that shit. Mm-hmm.
No.
So-
no.
All right. So Marcus, I know this is kind of like where we've been at with Wildcat Canyon for a while. Are there any updates to it? What's the next steps with it? I know it's kind of just a little bit of litigation limbo.
Yeah, so this is a good point. We do have a slight bit of update as to where the litigation is at right now. So we had contemplating filing an injunction, which would have stopped the Forest Service from doing work on those trails while the complaint is being heard, while the litigation is ongoing. We didn't have to do that because they voluntarily agreed not to do work on the roads that were challenged. So that was one good piece of information and a step in the right direction.
And by work on the
They
road, you
submitted-
mean work to try to decommission them.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
So it doesn't mean they can't put up signs, and it doesn't even mean they can't put, let's say, a gate up, but they're not going
Right.
to take a dozer out there and obliterate
And they will
the road
and don't
on
be
the
wrong.
ground.
They will continue to ticket you guys if you go out there. And you
Exactly.
hit the river, you'll continue to get a ticket. They love just parking out there and writing tickets all day.
So while the complaint's ongoing, they're not going to obliterate the roads, which was a concern we had, that as soon as the decision was made, they were going to roll out equipment to do that based on how they had acted up to that point.
Yeah.
And then they submitted the administrative record. That's basically the entire process they'd used to make that decision. They left some stuff out, some of the stuff that we discovered through our FOIA and background information digging through. So we made a motion to supplement the administrative record with all of the emails and the information we had. They didn't like it, but they didn't fight us on that. So all of that information got in.
Nice.
So that we completed the administrative record. And then now, by the end of this month, we have to submit our initial brief. That's a fancy word for like our statements of reason why we believe that they didn't follow their own process and they did something wrong.
Okay.
So we would file our initial brief. The judge will look at that. The Forest Service can file a response to our initial brief and tell us why we're wrong. And then, we kind of get into the ongoing litigation from that point. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. We've been working with Kevin to prepare all that information and to get it all dialed in and within the page limit and the word limit that is required by the court. And trying to consolidate everything as concise as you can and tell the best story that you can. And see how it holds up.
I will always contend that folks that have eyes on the ground and have a vested interest in keeping it are going to present a better story than the folks that don't. So here's hoping. Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, Marcus, I really appreciate everything that people like you are out there and fighting for us. I don't think you get enough appreciation from the
Seriously,
community.
you guys do a lot of work. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really feel like a lot of it is just knowledge, right? I don't think a lot of the community understands the people involved and how much extra work you guys are putting into it to make sure that we all get the benefit from this.
Yeah.
And one, I don't think you should have to go through this shit, but at the same time, I really, really appreciate it. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks, Jason.
So we've talked about not going down into the canyon. That is, if you want to do something for Wildcat Canyon right now, is stay out of it. You can ride heck, you can ride long water, go all the way to the county line, but make sure you stop there before you go any further. And then what are some other things we can do? You guys are keeptrailsopen.org, right?
.com. Keeptrailsopen.com.
Excuse me. Okay. So yeah,
Yep.
keeptrails.com. Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, I was just going to say everything that we have. So our Instagram, our YouTube, our Facebook is all at Keep Trails Open. That's how you can find anything. And then our URL is keeptrailsopen.com. So it's pretty simple for at least across all of the platforms.
Yeah.
But if people want to do something, if you just follow the information, follow our updates, and then, read it, contribute to educating other people when you see questions pop up, when you see issues pop up. If everybody has the best information, we're all presenting the same information, that goes a long way for us, trying to show land managers that
it helps if we present a united front.
Have an impact. Absolutely. And Jason said it earlier, just know the information that you're getting on Facebook or Instagram before you start fighting about it. And JD made that point too.
It's
And
all
I do have
fucking bullshit.
Yeah. I have a funny story. So I was on a post in one of the Colorado groups on Facebook, and some people were asking some questions, and I was just delivering the Hackett and Longwater information, and some guy started arguing with me, and I said, no, that's not quite it. It's this and this, and this is what's going on. And he thought I was blatantly wrong, and he posted a video, and he's like, you need to watch this guy. He's telling us what's going on. And it was my video. And I said, I made that video. Yes.
That's awesome.
And clearly you didn't watch that video, but the title was about Hackett and the gulches and the update and stuff. So, you never know what you're going to find on social media, but
that's why you do these long form things, so that you give people an opportunity to listen to the whole thing. And then you got to do the 5-second soundbite, right? Well, hopefully we'll get a couple of good sound bites out of this thing that aren't just Jason yelling fucking bullshit at the top of his lungs.
But if you get some of those to send me, I want to make some reels out of them.
Oh, I'll send them to you. Don't worry. They're good. Yeah.
Pope, that's fucking bullshit. Don't fucking do it.
I'm going to make reels out of my own fucking reels.
There you go. Yeah. You know what? We're just going to have a fuck reel. That's it. I've made it. Yeah. Here's the thing.
That did not come out right.
It really didn't, and I'm regretting it immediately. Thank you very much.
That did not come out right. I think I'm the only one to recognize that, but it didn't come out right, JD.
I appreciate it.
Didn't come out right.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for calling me out. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, so is that
Marcus.
you? Is that you doing the thumbs down?
Who's doing the thumbs up, thumbs down? Is that Jason?
No, I think that's our fucking live.
Do we have a live viewer?
This is the live.
Because that live viewer's been hitting that down button real hard today.
They've been downvoting the shit out of us.
We'll have to see. We'll have to check that.
Hey, that's all right.
Well, hey, for your down views, go fuck yourself.
I mean, there is that. Yeah. If you're sitting there actually downvoting us right now here, so look.
Man.
I mean, I'm down for it. Like, we're getting live.
We did. We got at least one comment. Love your podcast.
Can we see who it is? I mean, is their name Karen?
No, it's Jeep Neck X. Well, thank you very much, Jeep Neck X. I appreciate you giving us a little bit of a shout.
Down arrow on us?
No, they gave us. It looks like they gave us an up. But I
love you guys. That's awesome.
I'll have to check the logs later and see if yeah, if you love us, Jason loves you. If not, go fuck off. Is what he's saying.
And if you down arrowed us, your name is Karen, whether your name is Karen or not. I
or
don't
if
give
it's
a flying
Ken.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, Ken, whatever.
So
Marcus, you knew what this was.
But, hey,
you knew what
Marcus,
you were getting yourself
serious
into.
question. What do you drive, dude?
A lot of things.
Careful.
Mm-mm.
So what you guys can't see behind this camera here, and I can turn it around if you want. I have a 46 CJ2A sitting right behind the camera here, all original.
I love you. I love you.
He's got a bitchin' vehicle. It's fucking awesome.
And then over here, I have an 88 YJ on 1 tons and 40s, stretched out to 105 wheelbase. Then down on this side, I actually have a new 392 JL too that's sitting over on this side.
Hey,
And
can I sleep
then-
in your garage, dude? If I come to Colorado, can I just sleep in the garage?
I was thinking of inviting you to an objection meeting because those are really boring and I could use some color commentary when we're
Let's
in there
do it,
anyway.
dude. Oh, there.
You
You know
there,
what? If
fuck
you do it,
ourselves.
I want to come there. Like we record this shit, public meetings. Yes.
Hey, lately I'm
And-
pretty bored because I don't have much to
Yeah,
do.
he's
and
recently
let's do it.
retired, Marcus. You got some
Awesome.
spiciness on hand if you want.
And hey,
then-
I won't even drink. I'll be fired up. I'll be ready to go. Let's
He's
do
like
it.
the off-roading
He's
Andy
good.
Murphy.
And then my wife represents. She drives a Gladiator, not quite as nice as
Nice.
Pope's, but she drives a Gladiator.
Craig,
The
what do you
Pope's
drive?
is, like, I've never seen a fucking Gladiator like Pope's. Last time I seen it, it was upside down. I've never seen one like that.
Craig, what are you driving?
I'm not as cool. Yeah, I'm not as cool as you guys. I have two TJs. I have a 98 TJ,
See.
an 01 TJ,
That's sick.
but my main one's a 2011 Wrangler.
I miss
Oh, shut your face. You can't say you're not cool, dude. I got a fucking JKU too, dude.
Yeah, you're good.
And those things are badass.
What year is your
man.
JKU,
Yeah.
Jason? 2015? The same year as mine?
I don't know. I think I was drunk when I bought it.
All right, fair. I feel like that's just a default. Like if I had to go to Vegas and put money down on you, Jason was doing X, Y, or Z. Was he drunk or not at the time? And I'd put the money down on drunk.
All right, ready? Here you go. You ready to keep up with me?
Oh,
I bought it in November of 2014. It's a 2015 model. It's been from
Okay.
Hawaii,
That's right.
all the way to the Pac
Mhm.
Northwest in Washington. That Jeep has been all over the United States.
Or
And I have less than 60,000 miles on it.
that's
So
where I'm
who can
jealous.
beat that?
Mhm.
Other than Psycho Cupcake, Kate Atkinson, because her JKU has less miles than mine and is actually, I think, a 2014. And I don't know how the fuck she did that because I wheel a lot. But yes, I trailer that shit everywhere. Can't help it. It doesn't drive very well on the road.
that's
I look forward to the day I can get a trailer for my Jeep. Because then I can start doing stupid shit to it. Because right now I still have to drive on the highway. So occasionally I drive from Colorado to Vegas. And I hate doing that in my wife's Camaro. So I got to have the Jeep.
Does anybody got a lead on a 40-foot trailer? Because I want to build up the Gladiator. I just need to find the time and the money to build the Gladiator up.
Talk to
Yeah.
Lightbright, Kevin and Brittany. They have all the
We used
toys
to
and
be
they know
friends,
where to get all.
but last
I know.
time I seen them, all they did was honk their horn at me and go,
Yeah, I don't want to call you out, but I'm gonna do the again. Look at the camera here, and I'm sure that they are not listening. But Kevin and
You're
Brittany,
out.
I took you out on your first trail in Moab, and I haven't heard from you since. So love you,
and
but,
I will
I'd
say,
love to hear
hey,
from you. Yeah, what?
and I would say, hey, Kevin and Brittany, last time I seen you was in Hawaii, and we all played
Oh.
beer pong, and we did fucking tequila shots. And then I
it
seen you in
doesn't
Moab, we
surprise me.
did
They know
tequila
everybody
shots.
too. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cool
And
people.
you
Don't
know
get me wrong,
what?
guys. I'm not calling you out for being assholes.
I haven't heard
You guys
from
are
them
awesome.
since either.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't know us either. So that's fine.
They will.
Remember
They-
your roots, goddammit.
They'll know
They
you.
were
and
gonna
then-
bob
yeah.
my Jeep bed, and then they never called me back. And then Old Bill came out with the bob, so that's what
Oh
happened.
wow! Do we
That
have like a
was a better
podcast
option
episode
anyway.
forming
Oh, the
here
Motorboat
of
Bob is
stuff
awesome.
that we've heard
Jesus,
from?
look at this shit.
Oh,
You know what?
Concerned
This
about
is going to be
topic.
fun.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
I am going to reach out to them. I think I have Kevin's phone
you
number.
should because
I will-
wait, Marcus, have you ever not
yes, sir.
been had a phone call returned by Kevin and Brittany? Lightbright,
Me,
Oh my
I've
God,
never,
why are we
I've
having
never
this
called
conversation?
them.
because I'm an ass and I'm 2.5 beers in, 3.5 beers in, so this is what happens.
I'm like,
Hey,
I'm like,
you guys
quarter
should
of-
you guys should let me just slam on them.
yeah,
I'll
I mean there
slam
is
on 'em.
that.
Let me
I'm
keep
not
slamming.
again. I can be clear, everybody. I'm not slamming
There's
anybody.
nobody-
You get it. You guys
There's
got
no
real
one
big, real
I would
fast.
want to
and I just
slam
haven't heard
less
from you
than
since.
I am. I'm slamming on them.
Yeah, I know you are, Jason. You're always slamming at everybody, but we love you for that.
Yeah.
All right.
I
No,
don't like to slam on
just the
anybody.
ones that
I
don't
like
appreciate
everybody.
people. God damn it.
no, they're the ones.
All right.
They're that because of the stepchild. There is a misfit. I'm just gonna say.
I get that part too. Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot of my wheeling that I do in part because I had a lot of influence from watching Kevin wheel his first time out.
Randy thought I was going to say something shitty about him. Did you see how she's like, stop.
I don't like talking bad about anybody.
We're not. I'm just giving them shit because I'm just giving them shit because I met them, and then the next time I saw them, Brittany was doing a Netflix special. Like that's it's not a criticism. They got real busy, and I haven't heard from them since.
Awesome, by the way.
It's fun.
That was a really cool show. Honestly,
I've watched that. I've watched that one twice.
Yeah, if you're looking for a cool show on Netflix, I don't remember what the hell it's called, but it's all about
it's about drifting,
like
drifting,
yeah, and
like I got ideas for my Jeep's lights from watching that show. That's why my Jeep is like this.
They had their honeymoon in Japan. They drifted for 2 weeks. Like that's all they did. That was their honeymoon. Like that's awesome. Let's go for it.
More power.
I feel like that's like my normal life. I drift every week into something.
You don't drift in that Jeep. Don't lie. We have you, me, and Craig have JKUs. JKUs don't drift.
I'm not talking about my Jeep.
Oh,
I'm talking about my
just
drinking.
life.
Oh, well, that's
just
different.
Life.
Yeah.
He's just drifting through life.
Fair enough. Hey, you're
That's why we're
retired.
friends. I call myself the garbage bag blowing in the wind. So I get it.
Hey, if you could, Randy, if you could please bring sangria next time it's frozen. Whatever that was, I had a hell of a hangover the next day.
It's some red wine shit, I think.
All right.
That was my way of making friends.
Just so everybody knows, you know what? Hey, Kevin and Brittany, they're good people.
Yeah, we love guys. We
I'm
love
talking shit. I know they're busy because they're like super famous. But at the same time, Kevin and Brittany, if you ever do watch this, hey, remember the people you first talked to.
And give us a call at 719-408-0132.
And I will give it to you. Like, I am fucking blown away. I have so many fucking friends that are in the King of Hammers, and they've been in King of Hammers, and it took them years to finish it. And Kevin and Brittany did it in like, what, 1-2 years? That's fucking amazing.
Well, they go balls out.
Kevin.
They have zero regard for if they break shit. I love it. It's fantastic. But yeah, give us a call.
Yeah,
there's some of us that met you way back in the day who would like to say hi.
Upside down.
So, all right, let's switch the subject.
But I will tell you, hey, one last thing.
All right.
Kevin and Brittany, you guys suck at beer pong and you suck at cornhole, so you should never play against me.
I feel like that's
again.
tame enough. We can handle that one. You know what, Pope? I'll give you that one. We can throw that one up online. Maybe we can get Kevin and Brittany to come on. There we go. I can answer to all of these
and
scurrilous charges.
last thing.
Yeah.
Brittany, your guys' recommendation in tequila, fucking spot on. I love that shit. It's the only tequila I'll drink to this day.
See, Randy, it's all love. We don't want to give anybody shit. Maybe once in a while.
There's
There's a few
everyone
people,
whiskey
we'll
advice.
save it
And
for after we
Randy,
get big.
I'm in the
and we have some
military. I'm Navy. I'm a submariner. Well, I was.
Allegedly.
And that's all we do. That's endearing heart. Yeah. We show our endearing fucking love for people by just talking shit about them.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's do the last piece here. So Marcus, thanks a lot, man.
Shots?
No, well, hold on. We're almost there. I got one question for you.
Okay.
So Mark, you've been doing shots. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I was getting ready for you guys.
So Marcus, I know we've talked about this offline, but if you're listening, Marcus has talked about coming back on a regular basis. So we'll have you back. Let me know what's something else you want to chat about, man. Off the top of your head. I always got the Glenlivet.
Oh, the deer.
What do you think, Marcus? There's something else to chat about.
We could talk about some, we talked about like picking up trash and some of the other things and helping your friends out, but I do a lot of work with State the Trail here in Colorado too. Those are always easy topics to talk about of what's going on. Sometimes that's the lighter side of land use. It's not so, we got this closed, we got that closed. That gets a little heavy sometimes. So talking about the lighter side of land use.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm
is always
100%
good.
here for it. Cool. Yeah. All right. We'll work all that out, and then we'll have you back on again just for that. And then Craig. So typically, how we finish out the show, we're going to ask a quick question, give everybody a couple seconds to respond. Pope talks too long, so I gave up on a timer. And
I can't
the
help
idea
it.
of the
my,
question
my
is just
mouth
going to get.
opens, it never shuts.
Well, it's
I mean,
at the
there is
end.
that,
He's had a
but-
lot of alcohol at that point.
I mean, there is
true.
that. There is that part too. Oh, we lost Jason. We didn't even get him for the question. Let's see if he comes
Oh,
back.
man.
Okay, that's all right. No. So at the end of the show, we just kind of like to ask a question around the table, get everybody's opinion, and then if it's something interesting, maybe we'll turn it into a show later on. So today's question for the hot seat is going to be: is technology making it too easy? Is it making it off-roading too easy? Is it a concern? And I think we've touched on this before. Is it a concern that people are coming over reliant on lockers and gearing and the rest of it? Especially the newer folks. Let's start with Marcus. You're our guest, Marcus. You've done this before. You know us.
Absolutely. Happy to answer this question. And I'm with you. I write trail guides and we depend on technology for the GPS tracks and all that stuff. But what I constantly see online is everybody asking every specific detail about every trail, the exact conditions, how it looks, what it is. And I like to go out on adventures. And I don't like to know everything. I like to know where I'm going, but I don't like to know every single thing. I like to go out and enjoy the public land, the mountains here in Colorado, and I don't need to know exactly what's going to happen. And it's not an amusement park. I like having an adventure, and sometimes technology prevents having an adventure.
JD, I can't hear you.
Yeah,
You can't hear me at all. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I muted myself for just a hot second, and I didn't unmute myself. I'm just talking. Well, thank you, Marcus. Yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't quite. I don't think I thought about it with that. Craig, what do you think?
You know, I don't know all the cool bells and whistles, so the technology is definitely helping me. I downloaded a couple different trail apps, and it's nice to know when I'm on a trail app.
Well, not just the
when I
trail
get to a
apps, right?
certain
Like
fork,
is an
which
out of the
way
box Jeep
I should
just
go.
too much? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's too much.
All right.
I mean, I keep making it bigger. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
the question is it making it too accessible? Is it too easy for folks to get out there or not?
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't really. I don't know. You put me.
That's
yeah,
all right.
Definitely.
All right. I know Pope's got an opinion. Go for it, Pope.
All right. So when it comes to like
Randy will shot. Here, hang on a second.
Randy's
here.
gonna tug
Randy,
me in a
when
second
you're
here.
ready to start telling us about your opinion, then you can just slap him and take over. Okay.
All
There
right.
you
So
go.
my opinion on this is the maps and everything are necessary evil.
Right.
In the old days, they use a compass and a paper map. Current technology, that's just normal. As far as the vehicular technology, if you're upgrading, you're putting lockers and bigger tires, you're just making your job easier that day, and you're
Mhm.
reducing the chance of breaking something. And for that reason, I think that those things aren't really a problem. And
Okay.
like if you think about the Jeeps from, like someone said, like you used to be able to wheel Wildcat Canyon on 33s. Well, the
Right.
Jeeps were littler when you could wheel them on 33s.
Yeah.
And there's a huge differentiation between these giant SUVs that we drive now and what that you used to wheel with back in the freaking 90s and 80s. So,
Yeah.
that's my opinion. I'm going to try to keep it short. Let Ready talk now.
Hey, look at that. We got it. Hey, Pope. All right. What do you think, Randy?
I think that the technology is great because if we're talking about land usage and all the different things, like how do we, like when you're out there and you're on these trails and like you're driving along, how do you know what's open and not open and things like that? I think it's really like to be able to make sure that you're not in a bad spot or different things like that. I think that like it's also scary because you can get lost and how do you find your way back and different things like that. I think it's really awesome to be able to have the access to those kind of things. As for like modifying your vehicle, I think that I want people out there. I want people to try that. I mean, I love this community and I love the people that I've met. I I came into this thinking that it's like I get to hang out on a Sunday afternoon in the mountains and it's amazing with my friends and all these different things. And now I'm finding out that there's actually a political side to this. And I grew up in Utah, so I grew up in the mountains. Like I literally, they have been my back door all my life, whether it's like camping or wheeling or different things like that. And I love it so much. I want other people to enjoy it. So I don't think that it's making it too accessible. I just think that we need to spread out a little bit so that we don't overuse certain areas. And the more that we have these kind of apps and these kind of things to be able to go and see some of these areas that we might not know about. I agree with you, Marcus. I don't want like every little detail on there, but I want to know that I'm in the right vicinity and the right area that I'm supposed to be in. And I think that it's really awesome to go out and experience these trails that might not be Hell's Revenge or like these overused trails. Like, let's get out into the areas that there's not a lot of people. And why are we shutting down these areas so we can spread everybody out and let's all enjoy these lands together?
Yeah, and I think that's to the app thing before. Like, I shared the story with the person I spoke with at the event at the Overland Expo. You know, if the technology at least the app stuff allows us to help people spread out so they can find new stuff, so that people aren't all concentrated on the Hacketts or the Black Bear Passes or everything else like that. So on that front, I think technology is actually good. We're at a place where it's pervasive. You can't get away from it even if you wanted to. So, but on the, I do think that there are some times where technology can be a little bit too accessible. Julie told a story about what somebody bought a $50,000 Jeep that was ready to go on their way to the event. So it was a big deal. I'll be right back, guys.
Aren't we just about done? I thought he was finishing. Where is he going? Just kidding.
Probably someone at the door or something. No, but Julie is talking about her husband Matt bought that Gladiator, built, and took it to Winter 4x4.
That's true.
Or Trail Hero last year. It was a twin to mine, actually. It was weird.
He just wanted to be cool like you.
Is that where you guys are in Utah by Trail Hero?
So we are about 4 hours from Sand Hollow.
Yeah, so Trail Hero is the big event in October. It's in Sand Hollow. We're about 4 hours away from there.
Yeah. We're in northern Utah. So we're about 3.5 hours from Moab, 2 hours from Vernal, 4 hours from Sand Hollow. Like, Price is right around the corner. We're kind of in like a really cool little area.
That's really
Sorry, guys. Small household emergency. So to get back to what I was saying before I interrupted myself, like the Rubicons and stuff, like I think it's good because it helps people get further than they were able to get before. I think sometimes that some of the technology coming straight from the factory might get people too excited, or I was
going to say a false sense of
there it is. Yeah, that's
right.
The phrase
There's
I was looking for.
too. There's definitely like people who don't understand the technology on their vehicle, or they use it incorrectly.
Like you shouldn't have a Nissan probably on Black Bear Pass. Like you can probably do it, but you probably shouldn't have it up there. Like and that only those kinds of things come with knowledge, and you don't get it unless you start.
But it's trail rated, so it's okay.
What did you say, Craig?
I said it's trail rated. So
there it is. Okay. Exactly. It's got the badge, right? All right. Cool. All right. Well, Jason, I'm assuming Jason is doing shots. So if you are a drinker and you would like to do a shot, this is the party shot. Hope, you got your Glenlivet?
I got my Glenlivet. Randy's got the bottle.
All right. I'll get it, girl. Craig, you don't have to do a shot. I shouldn't. This is going to kill my stomach. There you go. That's fine. Yep. All right. Cheers. Oh, every time that hurts. I gotta wash it off my beard now. I'm gonna smell it all night.
You're a terrible drinker, JD.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing is I used to be a good one. That's the problem. Like I had bottles like this though. Like one night within the first few hours. Like I could easily do this, but now it's just
No,
I think it's tequila,
that was your
too.
20s, JD. That was your 20s.
I'm aware of
Now
that problem,
you're-
Pope. Thanks a lot
now
for
you're
bringing
in
it up.
whatever
Mhm.
decade you're in, and everything freaking hurts.
Oh, I'm very aware of the fact that everything hurts way more than it used to, especially when it comes to drinking. So, yeah.
Randy has to work tomorrow. I get to sleep in and sleep this off, so it'll be fun.
I apologize, Randy. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Everybody else agreed to Fridays, not me. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Marcus. Thanks so much. Craig, we'll have you back again, man. Like I know you didn't get a chance to chat too much, but that's typically what happens in the guest host situation. We'll have you back if you want.
No, it's cool to know all this stuff like Marcus was saying about Hackett and all that. Yeah, like I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's
cool.
so muddy here. Like it's
Yeah.
you know, this is our backyard. This is something that's important, and we'll push this podcast, and then hopefully we'll get some updates to it. And yeah, well, it's just one of those things. You got to get involved, folks. You got to find out what's going on. Find out what's going on in your backyard, and make sure that you're telling people in charge that you want what you want. And in this case, we would like them to open Hackett and Longwater and Corral Creek like it's supposed to be. So, all right. Well, thanks so much.
Yep.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. Marcus, thanks so much. Pope, Randy, and real quick here. Well, I'm gonna do the outros here for a second, and then Marcus and Craig, if you want to hang out for just 1 second, and then we'll all go. So, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time at the Trailhead.